Hey everybody, it's the king of all Koopas here. Welcome back to more Star Wars Bounty Hunter. In the last episode, we finished up Tatooine. In this episode, I'm gonna stay quiet for a sec.
Roz, did you find Vosa's system? Roz, do you copy?
Sorry, Jango. Your Toydarian friend is unavailable.
Where is she?
Don't worry, pal. She's not dead. Not yet. She's a tough old bird. Took a while to get her to hand over that data.
You just signed your death warrant.
Don't be a sore loser. It's just business, old buddy.
I have underestimated this bounty hunter, Jango Fett, and the one who shadows him. It is time that the hunters become the hunted. Kill them. Kill them now. Bring me their bodies.
Well, things look bad at the moment. Seems that Montrose found Roz.
I know. I look terrible. I told you I had a bad feeling.
I'll get you out of here.
There's no time. Montrose set thermal charges. You have to get out of here fast. Vosa is on the moon of Bogden. You might still make it. Take this. I made this before he arrived. It will guide you.
I'm sorry, Roz.
I knew the risks. Get Vosa. Collect your reward. Just find something to live for besides the money. You deserve more. Now, go. Get out of here while you still can. See you on the other side. Jango!
Oh, ain't that sad. Okay, I have to wonder. Were there people other than Roz on that station when it blew up? That makes me... I'm real curious about that. Anyway, here's Bogden. I think the name of the moon is Colma? Or something like that? It'll say in a moment on the loading screen. But, yeah, Roz said that Vosa is on the moon of Bogden. Now, if anyone remembers... Jango's line from episode 2. Yeah, I know a lot of people hate episode 2. Deal with it. Jango said that Tyrannus had recruited him, that he was recruited by a man called Tyrannus on one of the moons of Bogden. This is where it happened. Oh yeah, so Roz has this recording of her that plays. It's kind of weird, as she said. She's just telling us, she'll just be telling us what she found out. But this is the last mission where we'll hear Roz. Pretty much the only enemies from here on out are Bando Gora, because this moon is where the Bando Gora take place. So yeah, pretty much always have your flamethrower. Pretty much tip here, just get onto where I am and just flame the hell out of them. And just, then, when you got a moment, run, because a lot more will just keep dropping. They're infinitely spawning in both that room and the next room. So, yeah. Supposedly something interesting. A lot of these Bando Gora came when, like, Hutt's ships came by to pick up the Gora's poison. I guess and supposedly they brought slaves as like tribute. So I nearly die here. Barely get out of that thanks to my our handy jetpack. Actually, what is the name of that jetpack? I think it's like a Zetonium, something like that. Let me look this up. Yeah, let me look this up. Seriously. Wonders of the internet, right? Open Wikipedia there, and then move this over here so I can see that. Keep an eye on it. Right. It's the same jetpack that Boba gets later, because pretty much everything except the blasters, except for Jango's blasters, Boba inherits. Actually, Boba does use his father's Westar 34s for a while until he gets his EE3 blaster carbine rifle. Which as we see in the movies, he'll like cradle like a child. As if that ain't creepy. Speaking of creepy, what is up with all these Bando Gora? Also, careful of snipers. There are those Bando Gora shooters like all over the place. All over the place. So yeah. Let's see, what was he armed with? So, I don't know if I ever mentioned this. So yeah, might as well talk about it now. Jango's backstory, legends-wise, he was born on Concord Dawn. His father was a Mandalorian journeyman, so he was taught the ways as a Mandalorian warrior, because it was in the Mandalore system. However, things went south for him when of course, the renegade Mandalorian Splinter terrorist group, known as the Death Watch, came by. His parents were killed. His sister, who he later thought was also killed, actually ended up getting kidnapped and actually became a member of the Death Watch. Well, Jango was rescued by Jaster Mareel and the true Mandalorians. The original Death Watch group being a Mandalorian splinter group that split with Jaster long before Jango was around. Came around. Jaster took Jango as his own son, taught him the ways of the Mandalorian warriors. He came in contact, came to know Montross, our rival, and they sort of had a rivalry going on. Things came to a head when Montross left Jaster to die at the hands of Tor Vizsla, the predecessor to Pre Vizsla from the Clone Wars show. Jango became pretty much the Mandalore, which means in Mandalorian, sole leader. Montross was exiled. Then a series of events occurred, which led to the massacre at Gilladran between the true men, which was set up by the Death Watch and the governor of Gilladran, to lure the true Mandalorians into a trap and brought the Jedi. The Jedi got involved thinking that the Death Watch were there, but they were confronted by the true Mandos. It was a massacre. Both sides lost a lot of forces. Some sources state that the only two survivors were Jango Fett and the then Jedi Master Dooku, but there was also where Kamari Vosa, back when she was Dooku's Padawan, before Qui-Gon was there, she killed like 20 of them, as she'll later claim. Something happened. One of Jango's friends gets killed, and like Jango literally kills like 5 or 6 Jedi with his hands alone. It's like, I remember a quote from one of the COD games that I'm gonna use here. When his blasters ran out of ammo, he used his shivs, well, his vibro blades or vibro shivs, whatever he had on him. And when the power cells of the vibro blades ran dry, he used his hands. Yeah, literally, he killed 5 Jedi with his hands. His hands. But I'm just saying. After that incident, the only Mandalorian group that were still warriors around were the Death Watch. The new Mandalorians were Satine's group of pacifists. But Jango pretty much left the Mandalorian way. Pretty much any surviving true Mandos left the warrior ways, took up bounty hunting, or retired. Speaking of when Jango was bounty hunting, apparently he he once ran into Kratos, Bosk's father, who was the head of the Bounty Hunters Guild. Oh, I'm gonna stop 1 second on my story, and what I was doing there is a Bando Gora shooter on top of this giant skeleton, and he's a pain in the shebs. I think you can figure... I've been using that before, and I think you know... It's a Mandalorian, and I think you know... I think you're smart enough to figure out what it means. Also, do not walk in that water. That stuff is poisonous. Anyway, as you saw, he was shooting me. Yeah. One reason Montrose hated Jango was because, Jaster chose him to be his successor, Mandalore, instead of Montrose. And so they became rivals. They became rival bounty hunters and all that. And then, well, stuff goes south ever after this game. Well, you know the rest of the story of Jango Fett. Yep. Yes. Other than Zam and Boba, there is a friendship he had with supposedly Jango personally trained some of the advanced clone commandos in ways of Mandalore to pass on the fighting style, which made them superior warriors. But also, I'm just gonna stop here again. Use this heavy gun. It makes your life so much easier because of all these Bando Gora. When you run out, use fire. Anyway. There was a person known as Cal Skirata who you may know if you read the Republic Commando novels. Both of them, both Cal and Jango, of course, were Mandalorians. they had an up and down friendship. Supposedly Scarata was the very aggressive traditionalist, and Jango was the more cunning and more subtle. Then again, that comes from being a bounty hunter and all that, and being tactful. Though, as aggressive as Scarata was, all of the squads that Scarata trained, because after when Jango became the template for the clone army, he hired any Mandalorians, any remaining Mandalorians who had either given up the way of the Mando or taken up other professions. He pretty much contacted them and brought them to Camino and pretty much named them the Civil Dar, pretty much meaning those who no longer exist. They, alongside Jango Fett, trained the Grand Army of the Republic. I'm gonna stop here a sec because the cutscene.
Looks like a dead end, Montross.
Been waiting for you, Jango. Thought you might not make it.
Don't write me off until you watch me die, face to face.
You've come to the right place for a burial.
You first.
The hunt's nearly over. I can smell it. Vossa's here, waiting for one of us to put her out of her misery. It'll almost be a shame to kill her. Imagine, Jango, the power to send thousands of mindless assassins willingly to their deaths, to plunge the galaxy into anarchy.
Not much money in anarchy.
The money means nothing. The thrill of the hunt drives me. The moment my prey begs for mercy. The moment I take his life. You know this better than anyone. We're the same. You and I.
Now you're just being mean.
You're going to shoot me in cold blood? It's not very sporting. Not your style. Not the Mandalorian way.
You gave up our ways, remember?
For you, I'll make an exception. Just like old times, Fett. You and me, man to man, face to face. Only now we do this to the death. May the best man win.
I am the best. Always was.
We'll see about that.
So, I found what... Jango has two jetpacks. One's a Z6 jetpack. Fix that designation again, Z6. Anyway, this has an alternate scene if you die, which I actually get here.
Go on, Jango. Pick out a grave. I don't for you. Vossa's bounty is mine. Save a place for me in hell, Jango. Get ready!
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, there's that, designation Z6 again. I don't think they're named Z6, a jetpack and a blaster and all that stuff. Though, the jetpack Jango uses that can fire the missiles, like, during his battle with Obi-Wan on Camino, and, most of this game when we can fire rockets out of it, is the Z6 jetpack, which was... Whoops. Which was manufactured by Metronomon Transports. And then the other one is a Mearson JT-12 jetpack, which was actually personally manufactured for Fett prior to the Clone Wars, and if I'm right... Whoops, that's the wrong thing. Oh, I beat him? I was too busy reading this.
It's not supposed to end this way. Not like this. I deserve a better death.
Don't be a sore loser.
I'll see you in hell, Jango.
Save a place for me.
No! Jango! Come back!